Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the March 12th, 2020 SBF Steering Committee special meeting. Before we get going, I want to remind everybody, if you would like to speak, we got blue cards over in the corner. Please fill that out before we get to any item. Madam, I guess we do the pledge first, so please stand with me. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, can we have the roll, please?
Committee Member Fowler.
Present.
Committee Member Pittman.
Here.
Committee Member Reynolds.
Here.
Committee Member Brandt.
Here.
Chair Thompson.
Here.
And then Advisory Member C.
Here.
Advisory Member Mellinson. Advisory Member Steindorf. And Advisory Member Klaus.
Great. Well, we have one item on our business for today. It's just a regular business item. It's the SBF Event Coordinator Request for Proposals presentations. Do we have any speakers on this before we get to it?
Mr. Chairperson, I do not have any speaker cards for this item.
All right. Could you give us a overall, Jordan, overview of what's going on here?
Light off. Good morning. We have 3 organizations that have applied for the event coordinator position. We're going to be hearing from all 3 of them today. The first one we're going to be hearing from is the Oroville Area Chamber of Commerce. Then we have the Downtown Oroville Business Association, and we have Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation. They've all 3 prepared a little spiel for you guys. And they're all requesting some overlap of the same events. So we're going to have the Oroville Area Chamber of Commerce start first.
And Mr. Chairperson, if I could just remind the committee that we do have Mr. Lager for the Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation under contract until the end of this year for these events. So this will begin in 2021. What we're considering this afternoon or this morning. These applicants have also, there's only one overlap where they are asked, or 2 people are essentially competing for the same event. So you will be, what we're asking of you today is just to give the staff direction so that we can begin to execute contracts with the awarded individuals or groups that are looking to facilitate these events. The other thing that I would also ask the committee to do is to not only ask but require that individuals that are taking these new tasks on shadow with Mr. Lager this year so they understand what is the role and what is the, what all is involved in this, because something that somebody does professionally may look simple, but it may be very complex when you get it out actually into the weeds and you're actually trying to do it. So I think it'll just make the applicants more successful when they do take over, and I think it'd be a wise thing to do to require a shadowing process this year.
Okay, up first we have Amber with the Chamber of Commerce, and they are applying for the Salmon Festival at $5,500 in the 2021 budget.
Great. And actually, before we get to her presentation, I think Committee Member and Mayor Reynolds would like to say something.
Yeah, my question is that with this applicant and this event, why is their application for about 1/3 of what the current contract is? They're only asking for $5,500, and the current contract for this event is $15,900.
Is this on? Yeah, okay. So
All of the, I don't know if you have the same information that we do, but all of the other events are asking for more money than what the current contract is.
So the reason we asked for less is through our contract with DWR, we actually get a lot of sponsorship out of that. So that's why we asked for less, because the funding wouldn't just be coming from SBF to help coordinate this event.
Do you have a contract in place with DWR for this event? fund
Not,
it.
we are renegotiating the contract for right now. But we've had one, we are in the process, our contract ends in May of this year, and we're renegotiating for a 3-year contract that would start in June of this year. And that would include funding for Salmon Festival.
So what would happen if your contract didn't happen with DWR, just what if? And you are on the hook for this program for 1/3 of what it's actually valued at.
I guess we would look into chamber funds for that, but I am 90% positive we'll be getting a renewal from DWR.
Great.
And I think, Committee Member Reynolds, we should probably also, in the event that that doesn't happen, just to be overly cautious, a belt and suspender approach would be to leave the door cracked open in the event that that doesn't happen, and say we would reconsider this in 2021 in the event that DWR, for whatever reason, does not renew the contract.
So this is something that's overlapped in the last few years anyways, with Ray Logger's contract. The chamber has always had, well, not always, the past couple of years have had a contract with DWR. Like she said, they're renegotiating it. So it's something that was already in place that they were, essentially kicking in more funds with Ray to work together. So that's why they're asking for less. So renegotiation is almost positive that they're going to re-get it.
Awesome. Do I get the clicker or do you click?
It's dead. So I'll be your clicker.
Okay.
Just give me the thumbs up when you want the next one.
Okay. You can go to the next one. So my name is Amber Marone. I'm here representing the Oroville Area Chamber of Commerce. Some history of the Oroville Area Chamber of Commerce. We've been a part of this community for over 100 years. We have 285 members that we work with, and our main goal is to connect, promote, and advocate for our members and our community. So part of the reason we think we would be a good fit for the Salmon Festival RFP is we do have history with advertising for our own events. We have history doing radio, newspapers, social media, billboards, and then the programs for our annual events. It skipped a slide.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I was too. Okay.
So the slide that skipped was just saying we do have events. We have our annual dinner, our annual barbecue, and we host a variety of networking events. And within these events, we also have experience working with sponsorship to help run these larger scale events. And then we'll go to the advertising slide.
It was blank. I'm not
Through
sure.
these events, we do advertise through the radio, newspaper, social media, billboards, and we do create paper programs for our larger scale events that we sell advertising for.
Oh my gosh, they're all messed up. I'm so sorry, guys. There we go.
And some reasons we feel that we would be a fit for Salmon Festival is we have a history of attending the meetings. We have collaborated with the various organizations before. For example, we have collaborated with the Fort Bay Aquatic Center and Feather River Recreation and Park to do the floating down the river. This last year, we held an information booth, and Eric also helped during the aftermath of what happened with the Salmon Festival dinner. We already kind of co-market with Ray, so we host the Salmon Festival website, and we market through social media and our own websites and through email lists to help promote the Salmon Festival. And that's my to the point short spiel. Any questions?
Committee Member Pittman?
Yeah, Amber, I appreciate the presentation, and I hear you talk about a couple items for the Salmon Festival that are maybe new and innovative. Anything else you're the group or the chamber is thinking about for the Salmon Festival in particular, for the upcoming year, or?
Yes, so Eric's been working on, we want to do kind of a sportsman's expo in the upcoming year. Part of our goal is we want to add new features to the Salmon Festival. It's already a great event, but events have kind of a lifespan before you have to do something new. So we have been making the effort to contact vendors and start working on doing a sportsman's type expo with the Salmon Festival this year. And then just continuing to make it bigger and better as the years go on.
Good idea, thank you.
Actually, add a question that I have. In that the Salmon Festival's revolving around fish, and you talked about the sportsman aspect of it.
Yes.
And being at the chamber meeting, was it yesterday?
Yes.
We had the presentation on the decrease on fishing tournaments.
Yeah.
Maybe bring it up to Eric, possibly presenting back to us in regards to the same time holding, I know there's salmon in the lake, right?
Yeah.
Tons
Yeah.
of salmon, so possibly holding a corresponding fishing tournament with salmon.
That is
on the
not a
lake.
bad idea.
So just talk to Eric about that.
I will.
Any more questions from the dais?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the Oroville Chamber of Commerce's application for the Salmon Festival at $5,500 with a stipulation that if their contract is not renewed with DWR, that they would revisit this body for the additional funds needed.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second.
Gotta push a button, Sandy.
Motion carries.
Awesome. I would like to ask for the next two items, thank you.
Thank you.
For the next two items that we have motions after both presentations, for the next two items, since there's corresponding item on there.
So hear both presentations and then
Yeah.
motion? Okay.
Take my screen off. Okay, so next we will hear from the Downtown Oroville Business Association. They have also provided us with a presentation. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Hello. Oh, thank you, Bill. Okay, we have our own clicker.
Heather, I'll let you click.
Oh, okay.
And you clicked it on there?
I don't know. I'm super not sure. Just got a badge on that.
Yeah.
Morning, guys.
Great, could you please state your name for the record?
Yes. I'm Robin Zanin, the president of Downtown Oroville and owner of Gallery Interiors. This is Chrissy Riggs, our treasurer and director of the Axiom. And Heather Johnson, she is with Langler's Webworks and a board member through Miners Alley. So we are the Downtown Association, and I would say you all know that we promote a lot of events that happen in downtown. And our mission is to not only bring more people and shoppers and restaurant goers downtown, but also more businesses to downtown. Next one. Our events are a big part of what we do, and we are currently all volunteer run, but we do hire some coordinators to help us take some events to the next level. Just so you know, our current board members are myself, Carissa from Red Fly, she's our vice president, Bernadette North from Cusel's Big Store, Carissa Nelson from Nelson's Footwear, Andy Smith from Sierra Gym, Brian Wong from Tong Fong Lo, Debbie Moore from Oroville Inn, Heather, and Bud Tracy is one of our advisors. And Christy will tell you about some of the events that we already host.
So we have two classifications of events. First is our First Friday events, which are monthly events to promote our downtown businesses and shopping locally. Our First Friday events have really grown over the past year and a half. into the point where we're actually selling out of those events on a consistent basis. So that's something that we're really excited about. We've created a very strong annual promotion strategy, and it seems to really be working for our downtown businesses and engaging people in their local community.
And Dave can tell you how the wine walk went.
Yes.
Was it a walk or was it
A wine.
It was a walk. One of the things that the other level of our events is our signature events. And those signature events are our role in the larger focus of community development in Oroville. So that includes the Feather Fiesta Days Street Fair. We also, for that event, we also coordinate with the Orodam Cruisers to ensure that the car show happens and is successful. The Salmon Festival Street Fair. Both of those events were also for the street fairs, work on revitalizing to really ensure that we have a dynamic group of vendors. We also host now 2 farm-to-table dinners a year, which are highly attended and very enjoyable, as Kent Fowler very much enjoyed himself last time. We also have our mile-long yard sale, the Christmas preview, Small Business Saturday, the annual Christmas tree lighting ceremony, and then we are the primary hosts for the Parade of Lights as well. Heather?
Oh, okay. So I'll move over here. So we have been working for the Feather Fiesta Days. We do the street fair portion. We also insure downtown for the car show and the street fair, so that we do insurance for all of these events, like about 20 events a year for downtown, for the cordoned off area of like I don't know. It's Zone A. So we provide insurance for anyone who's doing anything down there under our insurance as far as Feather Fiesta Days. And we have been working with Ray for years now with coordinating on this event, and we hire our own coordinator. We spend about $3,000 currently on marketing, coordination, insurance, just everything that goes into that event already. It's self-funded just by our other First Friday events. We'll fund that event, and then we'll get money out of that event and move it to the next event. But what we'd like to do is really have the ability to hire a full-time coordinator, because we're all volunteers, that we can help elevate this event. So really invite high-quality local Butte County vendors and create a larger digital marketing plan that includes our website, PR, media buys, social media. We do most of this anyway, but we do it without receiving any funds. It would be more robust if we could, and we really want to focus on our local community, Butte County, and tourism, bringing people in for these events for overnight stays, so we make this a full weekend event. So our plans to elevate are to use drone footage for getting more accurate crowd counts and creating videos to use for social media and TV the next year. Better signage so that people know where each thing is happening. So if you're there for the parade, you know where you can take your family to go get something to eat or see the car show. So we have signage up on each section of the event. And then seating and shade. We've heard a lot of feedback about having more shade and watering places for downtown. So like we're in the food court, have more places where families can sit, eat food, have shade, and water stations. So that is another piece of it that we could coordinate. Next. Oh, and our current coordinator that we have works closely with Ray as well. So, okay, Parade of Lights. Basically, the same kind of thing. We provide the insurance. We are the main sponsor of this event. And last year, we partnered with Lord's Gym to do all the volunteering for the lineup. And it worked really well. We felt like it was a great partnership. Again, we would love the advertising dollars and help with coordination dollars so that it's not all volunteer, so that we can really focus on vision for this and safety And then we can have somebody dedicated to doing the coordination and marketing. And elevating this would be letting more local businesses come in to participate. Like last year, we invited Mugshots and Miners Alley and Lord's Gym to put up little hot chocolate stands. And we also were able to donate part of the proceeds to the LPO band for their trip to Carnegie Hall. So we are looking to elevate and let's see what's next. Marketing. So right now we put marketing dollars into Facebook and Instagram, a lot of Facebook ads and promotion. We have 2,600 followers. This is growing rapidly as our website is really driving traffic back to these social media outlets. And again, the first Friday events will bring 100 to 150 people downtown for one night event, and they're all signing up to like join. And this is a place really where we can highlight our businesses downtown that don't have a lot of money or time to do that. So again, these events all tie into helping small businesses downtown.
And we've invested in our website to be able to have vendors sign up there, sell tickets through there instead of using a third party like Eventbrite to sell tickets. So we have really invested in our website to be able to hold the amount of traffic and be able to hold the amount of people we're hoping to bring in.
Yeah. Then other marketing we've done, print marketing. We did a full-page ad in Explore Butte County's tourism guide. Thank you. We also did 2 articles in Upgraded Living and for December and November.
And then lastly, click the button. We'd like to remind you that we definitely support our local community and we buy local and we hire local businesses and local people to do the items for us, such as I know Lexi Ramsey would love to come on as even more of an event coordinator with us. She currently does a few smaller ones, but our goal is to keep things as local as possible and to hire as many local people as possible.
I think the main point in our application is really that these are events that we already have a large piece of the responsibility of. And as an entirely volunteer-based organization, that responsibility absolutely stretches the 3 of us and many others. Being able to apply for this grant in order to really invest in these events will allow us to bring other people in to really elevate these events from great events for our town, right? These are amazing events for our town, but these can become go-to events for this entire region. So not just Oroville. I know everybody goes to Feather Fiesta Days, of course, but people from Chico, people from Sacramento and Roseville, that should be a larger draw than what we're currently seeing. And we believe that awarding us these two contracts would really allow us to create that opportunity.
Thank you. I have 2 in the queue right now, myself first, and then Pittman. First of all, thank you for everything you guys have been doing as of today, especially on a volunteer basis. The question is, on the Feather Fiesta Days, you said 45 for hiring somebody full-time. Is that just like because that's part-time or a stint or something, or do you already have an agreement with somebody that they can come on full-time for a short period of time and then that's going to be over?
So we have an agreement with Lexi Ramsey that she's invested. She's a born and raised Orvillian, I would say, and she loves our community and she goes to these events, and she would love to help us elevate these events to the next level. And she has some great ideas for how to do that. And I think that 4,500 would go a long ways with her.
It's from beginning to end, so it's also the managing of the website piece for people to be able to pay on the website and fill out their forms, and then it's all the way managing them to the day of the event. So it's not like it's a project fee.
Gotcha.
Doing the meetings.
Member Pittman?
There you go. Yeah, great presentation, and I did enjoy the wine and chocolate event, and even though it was a little more expensive than I predicted, but that's to be expected. I was at an event Saturday, and it was interesting. I was sitting at a table with a lot of other folks out in Biggs, actually, and I was like being a marketer for the Friday night events. So my thought pattern might be if you could reach out through Facebook or that demographic to Willows, Calusa, Orland area, they're screaming for that kind of event. And I have a lot of family in Willows, and that was the first thing they mentioned to me. Why didn't you call me up and tell me to come? And it's like, man, I'm in bad shape here. I'm not in good shape, but I think the visual marketing of downtown, the success of your lights has just totally changed the whole environment. I think it's people just enjoy driving through downtown with all the lights on the buildings. That's a big plus. I would add that would be a great way to visually everybody learns by 80% of our learning now. Certainly see that as a great idea and an option for the downtown, and that's what people are striving for in downtowns, just to have the old stores. And I didn't realize there were so many stores. We missed a few because we just didn't keep walking, or I was worried about my pocketbook and trying to get her in the vehicle to leave. I'm not sure which happened first, but
Earned a lot of raffle tickets that night.
yeah, there was. But I also have to compliment, you mentioned our coordinator. She wasn't just a coordinator, she was on site talking to people, very involved with everyone, and that's what you see in a good coordinator. She just didn't let it happen. She was asking people, and I happen to know her, and but she was still on it, every building, making sure everybody was in case. And, on-site management is a great thing, and you certainly see that in her, and I compliment you for that selection, so. Thank you.
Dave, I just want to kind of respond to what you said. I really appreciate the way that you have complimented us, but I think that it's even more important for us to recognize you guys, because really without the funds from the previous SBF marketing contract, we would have not been able to bring in coordinators or to bring in really key people to our team to make those events successful. So
Or the lights.
Yeah, or the lights, right? So
Thank you, Sil.
yes, we appreciate that you recognize the work and time that we've done, but really we were uplifted by this group who allowed us that initial SBF contract for marketing and for lights that has really changed downtown.
Yeah.
And then also, you talked about your family coming over from Williams. Actually, for the First Friday event, my mom came down. She's a resident in Forest Ranch, and heavily ridiculed me when I told her 9 years ago that I was going to be moving back to Oroville. And she has, over the course of the past few years, really seen the way that Oroville's grown and the way other communities have taken steps that have led to part of their demise, and has totally become an advocate. So I think, we're doing great events, but we're creating great advocates for our community.
Yeah, that's true.
And you guys have become also great advocates as, sorry, not you guys yet, but as council, have made great
Right.
decisions that really uplift the values of our community, and the neighboring cities are really seeing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Great, also we have Member Fowler in the queue.
Thank you. David, I agree with you. I think we need to do more outreach to our surrounding communities, because when I was at that farm-to-table dinner, there were people from Gridley who had out-of-town guests, and they were amazed, and they were really great people. We want more of these great people coming in Oroville, spending their money, and then politely going home.
Yep.
That's good for our economy.
Absolutely.
It really is, and I think the word is getting out. So again, thank you for all your hard work. One quick question, and because I've attended some of your meetings in the past, I'm just kind of confused. I thought on the Gold Rush show, I thought the car club paid for their own security. Is that not the case? It's
No.
never been the case?
So last year, we paid.
Last 2
And the year
years.
before.
Okay, last 2 years, sorry. We paid to
Insure and secure.
2 guys to do security. That was kind of a requirement from the car show. If they were going
Okay.
to stay downtown, they wanted security. So our board said, okay, we'll pay that because we want to keep you
Sure.
downtown.
Yeah.
And that was kind of our backs were pushed against the wall, and this is what we gotta do.
Okay,
And it's a huge draw, so.
It is.
sure.
Security and
so
insurance.
that's why we also pay for the insurance,
Yeah.
which our insurance is currently in the process of getting
Yeah.
getting redone, but it will be done by the Fiesta Days, because the car show, they fall underneath us,
Yeah.
our umbrella, so,
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
yeah.
One thing we do, to your point, we have started doing paid ads, so it's not like boosting Facebook, it's a paid ad to like other, like Gridley. I know we've done Gridley and Nevada City and those places to kind of bring in those, and Stockton even, and so we are starting to do more of that, trying to get funds to put into that kind of marketing, because you're right, it's a good way to market.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Member Reynolds?
You, excuse me, you mentioned the $4,500 in a coordinator. Is that the fee of the coordinator, is the $4,500?
So we've worked with Lexi on multiple events and have really figured out that the best way to work with her is for a flat fee. So based on what we are how we're looking to elevate this event and how the amount of time that it's going to take for her to really put some building blocks in place, that seems to be the estimate that we have at this point.
I seen her name on your board. What's her position?
Not on our board.
Oh, her name was on that list, though,
It's
right?
on the list of businesses that we support, or
Yeah.
people in town that we support. And the reason why we pay her currently, like, she was our coordinator last year for Farm to Table. She was our coordinator for the wine walk. She literally helped get way more wineries than we had previous year. So we hire her directly, because she only works part-time right now for a school district. So we take her the rest of her time and we hire her just individually, because she is a go-getter.
And the breadth of the project would also be running the Facebook, running the website, doing all the artwork, designing the maps, so it's not just the calling people, and it would be the breadth of the entire.
So she works
all
with
of
you,
that.
but she's separate, she's not on your board?
She
or-
works for us,
Okay.
yeah, we would hire
Because I know
her as
that
a
we have
contractor.
a stipulation on this money of no compensation and maintenance, right? So if she was on the board, it would be a
she's not.
conflict.
Oh, yeah, she's not.
There should be no operation and maintenance. is what the-
Operations and maintenance, yes.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
not, but we hire her as a contractor now, but we oversee her, manage her, but she's
Okay.
separate.
And then the other event, the holiday parade, the 3,000, is that the same? Are you hiring the same person?
Yeah,
For that, we've hired Melissa.
Melissa's in the past,
But still
yeah.
both.
I mean, she'll be there if Lexi needs people to help, she can do that, but she would be our main
Okay.
coordinator.
All right, that's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Did you have a question?
It didn't come on. It's got to go blue. Okay. Ladies, I agree with what's been said. You've done a wonderful job. You have a very vested interest in downtown Oroville, in the community, and I like that. My question is why you didn't submit a figure for these other positions, since you have coordinators available out there and you're trying to build up downtown, and it seems like all these activities are geared to build up downtown Oroville and bring business and people in, and it seems to be your bailiwick. You've got the interest, you've got the ability.
Thank you. Thank you for your confidence in our team. One of the things that we spent a lot of time weighing was what events we felt we could really successfully manage. And in working, as you may know, we work very closely with Eric and with the chamber. And he had expressed that they really wanted the Salmon Festival. And so out of respect for them, we didn't pursue funding for the Salmon Festival. And then as the Wildflower and Nature Center, or Wildflower and Nature Festival, and the Rotary, I think it's Rotary, anyways, the
4th of July.
4th of July fireworks, that's the word. Since those things are outside of the downtown district, we didn't pursue those two. So that's why we didn't ask for more. We really found that we wanted to respect what Eric was requesting, and since they have such a strong contract and relationship with DWR,
Yeah.
it made sense to step aside for that one and really be hopeful for these two.
That
We're
disappoints
playing
me.
nice.
Great. Thank you. For any more questions on the dais? Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That stays.
Thank you, ODBA. Up next, we have Ray Lager with Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation. He is applying for 3 of the 5 events. We do not have a presentation for your screen, but he will be passing out a little bit of information for you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think I have a copy for myself. Ray Lager, Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation. As you know, we've been the event coordinator for this last 10 years. And I put in for the Wildflower, the Feather Fiesta Days, and the Oroville fireworks display. On the sheet I just handed out, kind of gives you a list of what we're doing and how that's working. These events are really, oh, am I supposed to speak into this? Sorry about that. These events are, they're all quite different. The Wildflower Nature Festival is a collaboration. It's really put on by the Feather River Recreation and Parks District, and my position with there is really as an advisory role. I work with Victoria, that's the new head person there that's running the events, and helping that coordinate, bringing ideas, doing the marketing, creating the ads, and helping them get the word out. So that's probably the smallest of the roles of all 5 of these different events. Feather Fiesta Days is a really unique event in the fact that it is a number of organizations. Last year, there were 19 different events included in that 8-day period, starting with the First Friday event, going all the way through Saturday, which has all the events. So the big players, of course, are the Exchange Club Grand Parade, which is the biggest element of the event, the car show, which is the Dam Cruisers, and of course the Downtown Business Association Gold Rush Street Fair. But on top of that, you have other organizations that come in. Some of them come in only for a year or two. We've had community concerts that were involved. The Exchange Club now has a Ugly Dog contest that comes in. Native Sons are doing the Beer Fest is back. You also have the Firemen's and Policemen's Association Chili Cook-Off. So there's a lot of different events, and that doesn't list them all, that come in. So that's kind of a unique one. Sometimes it's trying to get everybody to play together nicely. Sometimes it works out great. Sometimes, I mean, people have different opinions and different ideas of what it should be. So it's important that each organization has somewhat equal representation at the table for what their event is, because everybody feels their event is the most important, no matter what the other ones are. And again, it's been going on a long time. It's a fabulous event. And a lot of my duties involved kind of assisting in that level, and then of also creating the media and the sponsorship. There are no funds tied for the Wildflower. Even though it's a Feather River Rec event, they don't provide any monies to promote it. That's all done through sponsorship that I brought in to start to sell to it. So that's where the advertising money comes from. The same is true with Feather Fiesta Days. Occasionally, the Chamber has had money allotted through the DWR contract for promotion of that event, and they did last year as well. And then the fireworks, again, a little bit different because there's so many state and now federal and county and city agencies involved that it's done through, again, Liza with DWR has kind of taken over from Kevin organizing that event. One of our biggest things that we do as Upstate is that we cover the fireworks contract since the Rotary's not able to do that anymore. And so far this year, it looks like it's going to go through again. This could be changing, as everything seems to be changing these days. But being a standalone 501c3 allows us to kind of oversee that and also work in the sponsorship of those events. And then we also do, of course, the marketing and media on that event. But one of our main things is working with the Rotary on a pass-through exchange, dollar for dollar, no fees are charged for everything that's raised to go back to the fireworks company, Pyro Spectacular. Again, this is a one-year agreement, what this RFP was for, and my feeling is at this transition time, since we've been doing it for 10 years, to kind of keep it floating, I have complete confidence in both other organizations on the events they do, and I'm sure they'll do a fabulous job no matter how it washes out. But I just wanted to put that out there. And again, these are all really a little different, and they all kind of have a little different tune to them. And kind of breaking them up now for the first time into individual packages, I think is really interesting, and I think it's a positive way to move forward, because you will find that different organizations are going to really excel at what they do. And I would imagine next year there'll be an RFP for other groups to come in as well, or other things, or for it to colorate in a different way. So that's what I have. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to go over it.
Thank you, sir. I'm in the queue, and then Member Pittman. Could you, you said, so wildflower,
It's tough, I know.
Wildflower Festival, that one is run primarily by, you said state parks? Or?
No, by Feather River Parks and Recs.
Feather River Parks,
Yeah.
okay, the FERPID.
Yeah, Kent's on that for me.
And the 4th of July, that one is primarily, you said, organized by DWR and Rotary?
Well, they oversee the meetings and meeting places. Well, the meeting places have been at the Feather River Parks and Rec since they have Nelson Sports Complex, since it moved down from the dam. But because we use the North Forebay, which is state parks, they've been overseeing the meetings, chairs the meetings, and calls the meetings to order and those kind of things. We just really act as a fundraising element, working with Rotary. Rotary brings in the money for the fireworks. We raise the sponsorship for the advertisement of the event, and then also helping facilitate the contract and creating the ads and those kind of things.
Got you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And Member Pittman.
Thank you, sir. Great presentation. I enjoyed it. Any ideas about the Wildflower Nature Festival in terms of where it might go, or any new ideas that, from your experience, it might be innovative?
They're doing a lot, actually. They have, because of insurance purposes and the changes that were going on at Table Mountain, they've kind of gotten rid of the bus tours this year. That's not to say they might not come back. The United Way has come in, and they're doing a color run with the event this year, which is really exciting. So they're bringing in, and they have a lot of publicity that they can bring in as well. So that's happening. That's a new event. I know that the Chamber of Commerce, Eric, is taking over the wine and beer tasting element that they're going to have, and that is actually going to be a fundraiser for the Las Palomas Culinary Club on campus. So they're partnering with those guys to bring that in. They have Kirshner Wildlife coming in this year. I'm a little surprised, honestly, that they didn't apply for that, for the position on that. But again, having a separate, they're not a nonprofit, they're not a 501c3, so they're a little limited on things that they can do. Having a 501c3 oversee that element of them, I think brings in other support, especially in media. You know, when we do ads with NSPR and KZFR and sometimes Results Radio and also KHSL, we get a dollar for dollar trade. So if we spend $500 on TV ads, we get $1,000 worth of TV ads, and that's because we come in through the nonprofit, and they're able to they're able to push it off in their books. If it's a for-profit company, they can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big advantage on all of these events, that whoever kind of has it has that ability to do that, because if it's just a for-profit company, it's going to be difficult to kind of get the same bang for the buck.
Right. Appreciate that. The other question I have from your experience, am I looking at the ability to support other future events that either upcoming or not planned, or as example, we've got looks like a need to promote the fish tournaments a little better. We have the drag boat races coming in August,
Right.
and then we have the airport fly-in. It's almost, to my mind, I know nobody's proposing that at this date and time, but maybe we need to have a mechanism to help support those future events too. And what would be your idea on something like that?
I agree. I had a long conversation with Eric. We've been talking about different things this whole spring as kind of things are starting to figure out, where everybody's going. And I would love to see a mini grant program, maybe through SBF or maybe through whoever becomes the next coordination position, or maybe it's a separate position altogether, where SBF says, okay, we're going to take $20,000, we'll issue mini grants from 500 to 2,500, people apply for them. It's a one-time thing. It could even be a payback loan. I know that the Butte County Arts Council, or the California Arts Council did that with Butte County and Shasta County, different counties I'm involved in. Same kind of concept, that you can structure a mini grant. And sometimes it's only seed money where they pay it back at the end. But I think that would be a great thing, especially like you said, with some of these new events coming in. And a lot of time it's, you get money for everything, but it's all about marketing. And if you can't get the word out, you can't get the crowds to come. But that might be something that you guys look at, or one of the organizations looks at going forward. I think it'd be a great idea.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate your words and experience at it, and you've done a wonderful job in the past.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Nick, you, and then Member Reynolds. First of all, again, I forgot to say this, thank you so much for everything you've done as of yet with organizing these events. You've carried them for the last, you said 10 years. So, appreciate that. It's been great to have those events here in our community. A couple questions that I forgot to ask is, either you or Dave could answer this, I'm not sure who, but how much money typically is raised towards fireworks each year?
I would say a minimum of $15,000. That's always our base contract. There were times where we thought, okay, what can we get for $12,500? And then as high as $26,000, I think, was our biggest. The year we had the, Discover America, the USA Today contest, they paid for a ton of stuff, and that kind of blew everything. That was the one mega event. But generally, that's the range. And it's usually, I think it was 16.5. What we usually do is at the end, when we know exactly what it is, we adjust with pyro, and they're like, okay, throw in a few more of these, a few more of that.
So does all that money come through the Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation?
It comes through Rotary. So Rotary raises the funds, and then they give me a check for whatever it is, $15,000. Usually it's a couple of payments because we have to put a deposit down. So $7,500 is the first deposit. So their treasurer sends us a check for $7,500. We write a check to Pyro for $7,500, and then the same with the follow-up.
Because you were saying something about being a nonprofit that people can give, or is it the advertisement specifically that's cheaper to go through?
Yeah, it's the advertising end, right?
Gotcha.
But I also think having those 501(c) in the process, folks can realize the benefit of donating to a tax exempt for the fireworks.
Right.
If they just donate to a service club like Russ, you don't really have that same tax exempt issue.
So funds that are donated
For
are
fireworks.
put under
Their
UCEF?
501(c).
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so they could be technically tax deductible.
Right.
Right. So, and that plays in as well, too.
And some of our large contributors, Kiewit last year was one that was a good example of that.
Yeah, and I think Oroville Hospital gave $1,000 for the
Right,
fireworks as
right.
well. And again, that's for the actual fireworks display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Member Reynolds?
I do have a question for the Downtown Business Association, then you, Mr. Logger.
Okay.
But are you a 501(c)(3)? You are. Okay, so we would be enjoying that as well with you. See, because correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't you wanting to phase out of doing this type of work? You're kind of on
I
the
am.
exit program.
Yeah, that's why I thought the 1 year was a nice opportunity, and the
Yes.
drop from 5 to 3. The big one
Really,
being the
yeah.
Salmon Festival, that is really the
Yeah,
one.
just kind of phasing out.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Well,
And
that's what I thought.
I just want to point out, too, that the Chamber is also a 501c3.
Yes.
So, yeah, so
Okay.
all three organizations.
Yeah, I am, without, because I'm sure there's further discussion, but without making a motion, then I would recommend that we, for the Feather Fiesta, that we move on to the Downtown Oroville Business Association shadowing Mr. Logger this year, and that would be a strong requirement. And then next year we would move on to contract with them. Because that way, I think everybody would be happy.
Yeah.
They're coming in and gung ho and And you're going fishing.
That's right. Well, hopefully, we'll see. And, you know, don't forget, this was kind of like a secret process. Nobody really knew what everybody was putting in for.
Right.
So it was kind of interesting too, so.
Sure, and we appreciate you
Oh, thank
doing
you,
the slow transition.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I want to give shout out to Jordan and all the work she's done, and we've met, and putting the RFP together and getting all that information out. So it's been, you know, it's working all the way around.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Lager. Any more questions for I see Pittman?
No, that was.
All right, thank you, sir. In negotiations or in discussion about this, as we brought up the 5013C, I guess a question for the chamber would be either be this year or the following. Can you speak on behalf of the chamber to know if you would be willing to be that 501c3 for donations for such events like the fireworks and whatnot, either the following year, this year, or the following year?
I believe we would be up to it. Yeah, I'd say Eric would be about it.
Would there be a charge? Would there be a charge for that, do you know? Okay.
We only really discussed about the Salmon Festival. We didn't really discuss about doing the fireworks or the Wildflower Festival.
Okay. Well, I recommend that, Pittman,
Just to help answer your question, because I was involved in it, one of the difficulties is the insurance company willing to write the policy? And that's the big question, and that's why Rotary was told to get out of California fireworks. Just flat out told. It wasn't a matter of money and dollars. It was the insurance coverage saying no. So down the line, we're going to have to look toward that particular issue, and I'm sure, and I know you haven't looked at that, but every agent or every company, their cover policies, and they're shaking their heads over there. Yeah, that would be the question to be resolved down the line.
thank you. My recommendation moving forward is that we hit each of these events as opposed to an overall contract, and then we can write up the contract. Is that going to be okay with everybody?
It's fine with me. I make a motion that we enter into contract 2021 with Downtown Oroville Business Association for the Feather Fiesta Days project.
I'll second that.
Just for clarification, that includes their proposal, which was Fiesta Days and the other.
No, the
We're hitting one
separate
at a time.
contract.
Okay, separate contract. Gotcha. Okay.
Motion carries.
I make a motion that we enter into contract with the Downtown Oroville Business Association for the 2021 contract in the amount of $3,000 for the holiday parade.
I'll second that.
Sorry. Motion carries.
Congratulations on both of those.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we enter into contract for $1,500 for the Wildflower program with the Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation for the year of 2021.
Committee member Reynolds and Chairperson Thompson, if we could, for brevity and to save you making a lot of motions, there's only one application for each event after that. So if you,
I'm just following instruction.
yeah, I mean, there's really nobody else to motion, so it may make it easier just to do it as one.
I make
For-
a motion that we enter into contract with Upstate Community Enhancement Foundation for the year 2021 for the Wildflower program and the 4th of July contract for a collective amount of $4,500.
I will second.
I would, and I'll vote on this, but my recommendation for the future, whether or not I'm on this board the following year, is that with you phasing out, that it's communicated that this is, my recommendation for this board is this would be the last year. Since you are phasing out, I want there to be a plan, and I hope, Mr. Lager, that with this year, it'd be that communication with them. Since you are, again, phasing out, that it's communicated, hey, you guys need to really, pull on me for all the recommendations that you want, so that they are, because especially if the Feather River Parks Department primarily is the one who does the Wildflower, and DWR and Rotary does the 4th of July, that they really begin to plan, if you are phasing out, that they do plan for that.
Motion carries.
Great, those are all of the regular business items.
Mr. Chairperson, you still have the Salmon Festival.
No, we did that at the beginning.
That was the first one.
That was the first one.
You weren't here.
We did it right away.
You went to get the clicker.
Oh, you've already voted on that?
Yeah.
Oh, great. That makes it easy. Was it a 5-0 vote?
Yeah. Congratulations on all of you contract winners. Looks like everybody who applied got something. So everybody should be happy.
And thank you for being a big part of the community.
Yeah.
I mean, it really takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
And those of us that serve understand that when you have a servant's heart, you serve.
Yeah.
And we just really appreciate you for not only having the servants' hearts, but stepping up. So, thank you.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that as well. You know, I have friends who are in Reading and go up to, they have a lot of stuff, venture stuff and new business stuff and a bunch of stuff they're doing downtown with their community. And just hearing even the presentations that are presented here and the plan for the future, it really reminded me of a lot of the excellence that's happening there. And just seeing the same thing happen here, it's really encouraging to see for our community. So I'm really grateful to have all of you in our community that are moving forward to see our community really grow, prosper, and seeing some amazing events being presented. So thank you. At this time, we have call for agenda items. In the future, do we have any agenda items for Ms. Dias? Actually, go for it, and then I do. I'll start. I'm the chair, I'll start. I know we talked a little bit at the Chamber of Commerce yesterday in regards to our funds available, and we don't know when or if the contract with DWR will be submitted. So I think it's important with limited funds that we have that we begin to strategize best and worst case scenario with the current funds that we have with this committee, so that we can make sure that what we have continuing to move forward. So that's my recommendation for our next meeting is as well to look at where we are and basically maintain, so to speak, with no plan for future funds at this point.
I think there's a couple options that the committee could explore. Those could take you out to, depending on what you do. There are funds that we have currently out there, a loan program that the SBF provides. Nobody's ever used, nobody's ever expressed any interest in, yet it's sitting on $250,000. So we just need to move some money around into different accounts to ensure the longevity of this panel.
Part of the meeting would be that, or another thing this guys could do is to more promote that, to get it out to the word out there, because I'm not sure if the word is, we've done an RF, when you do a specific RFP, it says, hey, we're looking for bids for this, but having, we haven't really done an event so far that's like, hey, we want to have an RFP for a revolving loan. So those are things that we can discuss if we have that meeting.
Yes, we can absolutely discuss that. Get into further detail on that, when we get to that point.
Because I do like the revolving fund idea.
The revolving fund is good, except for, remember, once you've committed and loaned that money,
Right.
Once you're out of money, you're out of business.
Right, I understand that.
Eric Steve, Department of Water Resources. Just wanted to clarify, we have the current contract right now goes through July of 2020. We just got the invoice the other day from the city of Oroville, so we'll be paying that invoice sometime soon. So there'll be $100,000 coming in for that. I think what's in question is the contract for next year.
You're right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Fowler?
So I would like to bring up the fact that these monies were supposed to be supporting the Feather River, and we haven't really done very much work on the Feather River. And being an invasive species advocate to eradicate, being on the board for Feather River Parks and Recreation, I would really like to see, and I've been proposing cleanups quarterly throughout the year on the river. Whether you speak to the Park District or you speak to Park Watch, which I'm a big proponent of, the Feather River Nature Center, there's a lot of invasive species and vegetation that needs to be removed. And I know the Nature Center doesn't have a lot of funding. We need to get organized and get these weeds under control, which weeds are trees as well. Remove that. That's going to encourage the environment, bring more people down to the river, get rid of some of the uneasy elements that we now have. I'd really like to see some of that money spent in that direction. So that could be for contractors.
If I
could
could
be
just
please
jump in there
Go ahead.
and let you know what we are doing. There's been a lot of talk about that, and there's also been a lot of debate about who's responsible. So what we've done as a city is we've taken the lead on this, and what we're doing is we are actually contracting with a herd of goats that we're going to run all the way down through there, including the islands that we can get to across the channel, that are going to be cleaning all of the invasive species out, eating everything that as far as they can reach and as far down as they can go. That should be starting in the next couple months as soon as we can get the herd. Once that's completed, then we will go through a coordinated effort and clean all of the trash and the things that are there. And I think the other two-legged non-native species that's down there that's causing problems will no longer be there. So that will certainly help with that. And our plan going forward, Commissioner Fowler, is to do that at least twice a year, to run the herd both directions, to keep that cleaned down and cleaned up so it's more accessible and usable.
Well, I thank you for that. Again, though, we do need to have a management plan that's coordinated between the City of Oroville, Feather River Recreation, Butte County, DWR, state parks, fish and wildlife, what have you. So I'm hoping we finally cement this coordinated effort and have a cabal, if you will, and we actually have a management plan, because you can't get anything done once or twice a year. It's a management issue, and we need to come together to get it done. Otherwise, it's just going to be kicking the can down the road. So I love the goats. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a big step forward, but we need a little bit more action as well.
Regarding the undesirable
I'm sorry, Mr. Brand, I want to go through Member Pittman first, and then we'll, is it on the same thing he's talking about?
yes.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
The undesirable element. I've been informed that all the counties south of us have legislation, ordinances providing living in the drainage areas. You cannot reside there. We have people that reside there. Is that, am I misinformed, or is Butte County and North Oroville one of the agencies that doesn't have an ordinance that speaks to residing in the river corridor?
The area within the high water mark to high water mark is state responsibility area. So that would be a responsibility of the state. We are certainly willing to work with them and are coordinating with them. I mean, however, we do not currently have an ordinance regarding that. I'm not saying what you've been told is inaccurate or not correct. I think there's probably a little more to that. This is not a drainage area, so I'm not sure what exactly, somebody was trying to explain to you when they were saying it. So, I mean, we can.
Right. And with this, right now, though, we're just as specifically because we can have discussions and kind of get into the weeds, but to avoid that, this time slot specifically is for recommendations for future items for the SBF.
So what we'll agendize, or we'll bring back information to Commissioner Brandt regarding, what exactly that is and what we can and can't do.
Mr. Pittman, do you have a
Well, I would just add
recommendation?
to Mr. Brandt's idea that information is available from Sutter, Yuba, and Yolo counties, and we were at another meeting that topic and ordinance was brought forward, and I think we're looking at it. The bigger thing that I'd like to make for our next meeting is the idea of what Mr. Lager suggested, the idea of some kind of mini grant program that, I'd like to see that come back to us as a mini grant for potentially the marketing or recruitment of special events and or special events like Mr. Fowler mentioned, river cleanup. It could be that we have a mini grant program to help pay the garbage costs or something like that. I think the mini grant could be a wide range thing. It's not a narrow focus on just simply, special events. And that's a way to, it's a way to pay down but yet at the same time, satisfy the requirements of this goals and objectives of this committee. Is I think a mini grant program might be very helpful. And I'm talking even to the point of having support for schools that want to bring the kids here for a tour. I know many of the schools have difficulty getting $400 or $500 for transportation costs. If it was something along the river, a fish hatchery or the Feather River Center, something like that, I'd love to see a mini grant program there too, so we could invite those kids to come here, because once they come here and play, one day they'll come back again. And it might be an interesting idea, and possibly for our museums, which all are connected to the river too. So that's kind of what I'd like to see, a mini grant and then information about what Mr. Brandt's talking about. Yeah.
Great. And then we have one more recommendation from Member Brandt for future item.
We had appointment of standing committees. That didn't happen, right?
I don't think, what committees, subcommittees, go ahead.
So we do have that, since this is a special meeting, we didn't put anything else on the agenda. But last
Next.
meeting you had requested appointment of, like ad hoc committees. I almost called him chief, sorry. Bill Lagrone and I have looked through those, and it looks like there's one or two that could still be standing. There's a safety one and, I believe like a aquatic one that we could appoint to. But those will be brought back on our April 22nd meeting.
Great, thank you.
I think a lot of that time management plan subcommittee that was a large committee that had huge activities, and that plan's done and adopted and so on and so forth. So it's a good idea to bring it back.
Great. Do you have any reports from the dais or from our members? Gosh, these guys are, you are the advisory committee, right? On the side?
There you go.
Sorry. I don't have anything specific to present, but I just want to comment, just in general. You know, what I've seen today is, I think, a great example of the vision of this, of the SBF from the Department of Water Resources standpoint, where, you know, our funding goes to the committee, which then uses its knowledge and you know, local knowledge and subject matter expertise to decide, you know, what's the best way to get it out into the community. And it's really nice to see this process work as smoothly and as well as it has been working.
Thank you. Any comments or reports from staff or from the dais? Great. Seeing there's no more, this meeting is adjourned into our next meeting, which is, you said April
22nd
April 22nd, 2020
at 2 p.m.
at 2 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This meeting is adjourned.